In your video, you said, we don't need them, they need us. Who's they?
Yes.
Who's they?
The white people ultimately don't need other races in order to succeed, in order to be ourselves. Absolutely not.
So how do you think America became the greatest economic nation without...
Not through black people.
Oh, it wasn't? It wasn't because of free labor?
Are you talking about slavery?
How do you think America became the greatest economy that it did? How do you think that happened?
Through the genius of Europeans.
You said we don't need anybody else.
No.
But the reality is, American history proves you wrong. The fact of the matter is, there is no great America. You can't sit here and talk about that greatness without other people making that happen.
We could have figured out another way to pick cotton.
Who?
I mean, white people could have figured out another way to
Y'all tried that, didn't work. Yeah, I mean, we
do it now. We've done it previously.
I don't know what books you read, but no, that's actually not what happened. But you said y'all would have figured it out, but you didn't. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, people of color not going anywhere. So what is your vision for America? That is white land and the rest of us can leave?
I think that white people, Europeans, formed the core of American identity.
So why don't you go back to Europe?
African Americans built capitalism in the same way that potatoes built McDonald's. The United States was 90+%, in my opinion, of course, white, almost for the totality of its existence. And you're going to tell me that this tiny group of people are the ones who made it great? Fuck off. It's my blood and sweat of my relatives that made that happen.
Can you name one black invention?
In terms of nouns, like literal things such as the light bulb or electricity or the internet, I can't say I can give you one. In terms of adjectives, I could give you loud, I could give you obnoxious, I could give you incarcerated. You see what I'm saying?
Do you have any more? Maybe actions?
Overweight. The average black woman in America is obese. Overweight, there we go.
180 pounds, yeah. 180 pounds.
Oh, wow.
On average.
Oh my God, I thought it was 160. That was, 160 alone is obese, 180.
I hope you're doing great wherever you're watching from. I'm your host, and today we have one of those videos that makes my blood boil and my chest swell with pride at the same time. A white man sat down on a live show and looked the camera dead in the eye and said, "White people don't need other races. We don't need black people. They need us." America became the greatest economy through the genius of Europeans, not through black people, not through free labor. We could have figured out another way to pick cotton. He said it with confidence. He said it with that quiet superiority. He even tried to clown black people when asked for one invention. He couldn't name a single thing, so he started throwing stereotypes: loud, obnoxious, incarcerated, overweight, and brothers and sisters. I watched that clip and I said to myself, this man has never opened a real history book in his life. This man is walking around with a version of America that only exists in his head, because the America he is bragging about, the America he calls the greatest, was built on the blood, the sweat, the broken backs, the stolen children, the generational trauma of black people. You cannot separate the wealth of this country from the unpaid labor that created it. You cannot talk about cotton, railroads, tobacco, sugar, banking, insurance, universities, without talking about black hands that made it possible while white hands held the whip and the pen. And yet, here he is, sitting comfortably, saying, "We don't need them." Today we are going to school. This man, we are going to drag every single one of his talking points into the light of actual history. We are going to remind him and every person who thinks like him that black people are not guests in America. We are the foundation. We are the reason the house is still standing. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button right now, turn on the notification bell, because we don't play about history on this channel. We speak facts, we speak truth, and we speak it with fire. Let's get into this video and watch this man instantly regret every word that came out of High. You see that face? That is the face of a man who thought he was untouchable until the facts start coming. Stay with me, because what comes next is going to hit different.
Have this superiority feeling when I tell you that a black person created the plasma transfusion, when I tell you that the supercomputer that led to the internet is invented by an African computer scientist, when I tell you, like last time, all the inventions, when you learn about the air conditioner and the radiator and you learn about all the different science inventions that were invented by people that look like us. It wasn't you that started. You didn't invent the super soaker. It was a black dude that did. You didn't calculate the whole rocket ship stuff for NASA. It was some black women, of course, with the help of other people. But, you didn't invent the remote control. A black dude did. I mean, you didn't invent the spatula. A black woman did. 3D imaging, a black woman did,
White people as a collective group are insecure. You do not steal other people's culture if you are secure. You do not create a whole category of an identity to put yourself over another group of people if you are secure. You do not deport or kill other racial groups in order to maintain the integrity of yours if you are secure. You do not constantly try to separate yourself from the bad white people if you are secure. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because that insecurity manifests itself differently depending on what group of white people we are talking about, especially if we are talking about it on a political spectrum. On the right, it's pretty easy to tell where their insecurities are manifesting. We've talked about it extensively as a country. But on the left, I don't think we've explored that as much, and I want to point that out because I'm seeing it a lot right now. White people on the left side of things tend to hyperfixate on not appearing problematic. Because white people on the left side of things tend to have an awareness of the problematic nature of their history, they're more aware than the people on the right. So because of that, there's an understanding of the harm that has been caused. Because of that, if there's any issue where it could appear as if they are problematic, it sparks some level of insecurity, therefore a reaction that can either be compulsive or intentional. It is because of this that if there is a social justice issue that is getting a lot of public attention, and especially if it has a graphic nature to it, there are going to be white people that will not allow any nuance around understanding or reacting to that social justice issue, because there is a hyperfixation and concern at a quote-unquote risk of appearing problematic in the response or their understanding to that issue. Now, there is a level of this that is understandable and appropriate, because there are times where the nuance does not need to be brought in by white people, because a lot of the times it's perpetuated by white people, the harm. But the issue comes in when you have a harm that is affecting people of color. Those people of color are trying to understand, unpack, and address it with some level of nuance that is needed in order to address something at a macro level. And you have white people that will not allow that to happen, even if they are not the ones being directly impacted by the harm. The development of whiteness is a fatal wound that white people have experienced and created for themselves. And it is something that I am very aware of when I talk about white people, or the concept of like white supremacy especially. I always say that whiteness is the issue. It is what is problematic. It is what is a problem, and that is what we need to quote unquote get rid of, not white people. Those are two separate things. Whiteness is a concept, is a construct that was created in order to push other people down and put white people above other marginalized groups of people. But white people within themselves being born with paler skin than me and other people of color, that in and within itself is not problematic. And you need to separate the two in order to get out of this level of insecurity, this pervasive level of insecurity. But going back to culture, specifically when it comes to insecurity with white people, I personally strongly believe that is why stan culture is so incredibly strong with white people. It is because there is a hole left in place for white people because of the replacement of culture with the concept of whiteness. Whiteness does not give you any fulfillment. It does not do anything for you. It is not a connecting force other than a connection in putting other people below you, whether it's something you actively or subconsciously participate in. But stans, fandoms, give you something to collectively orient yourself around. It gives you a connection point. It is something that you can identify with outside of your whiteness. Because of this, that is why I do believe that the particular, what I like to call the doxing Swifties, not the normal ones, not the ones that have some ability to operate outside of this, but The doxing Swifties in particular, especially the white ones, are the ones that have a big problem with this. There are other things of this nature. It is not just Taylor Swift that has a fan group or a portion of her fan group that operate in this way. You could have that argument about Star Wars. You could have that argument about a lot of different cultural groups that come together based off of some level of some element of media or music or whatever. But I strongly believe that there is a fundamental wound that white people have experienced that leaves them susceptible to this kind of behavior and this blind spot that happens when you're not able to allow nuance because of this, again, risk or paranoia about appearing problematic. Again, I'm not saying that that is something that is an issue all the time. In fact, a lot of times that caution is warranted. But at the same time, when you are having this caution in play, it is important that you are checking it when you are having it in relation to other people of color, especially Black people. I'm seeing that conversation a lot right now when it comes to Jasmine Crockett. Yes, that is what's sparking this. It is not problematic to want to have a conversation about what is happening here in the U.S. when it comes to who we put in office. It is not problematic to want to have that conversation because we are experiencing harm at a severe level and have been experiencing it for hundreds of years. And under this administration, it is getting worse. So yes, a lot, and I do mean a lot, of Black people care about what is happening overseas. I am one of them. I care about it deeply. I have been connected with people in Gaza that are no longer here. I care about what's happening in that damn country, I promise. We cannot ignore the violence that Black people alone constantly experience in this country, and it is only getting worse. It is not something that we can completely separate, but it is a consideration. So it is harmful when you have white people come into the picture and in their pursuit of moral purity in order to not appear problematic, there is a way that a lot of white people shut down very valid conversations that a lot of people of color, but especially Black people in this particular conversation, are trying to have. Texas is violent to its citizens. Texas is a hub for ICE. Texas has done everything it can to siphon everything it can out of the citizens that are in this country. Texas is also in the South. So we have this issue where when things happen to us and things are really bad and we have things like ice storms and all these other kind of things that cause harm and people end up dying, we then have to suffer through the narrative of we deserve it because we voted for the people that made this circumstance possible, when we are one of, if not the most voter suppressed state in this country. I could tell you all day the harm and violence that Texans experience on a daily basis. A lot of the things that other states experience, whether it be the South, like southern states, it'd be red states, it'd be blue states, if they end up being touched by it as well, starts in Texas. It does. Do you know Greg Abbott is trying to put Turning Point USA in every school in this state? Did you know that? There needs to be a very, very honest conversation about harm and violence across the board, because we cannot put violence to one group over the other. It is all bad, which is why I say it is important that you do not look at things in black and white. It is dangerous to do so. And you have to be able to understand that two things can be true at once. We can hold very firmly that the violence that the Palestinian people are experiencing is horrific. We can also hold very firmly that the very subliminal or sometimes very overt racism that black people also experience in this country is also bad as fuck, because one is not better than the other. It's just not. All of it's fucking bad. We have to be able to acknowledge these conversations with nuance. It is incredibly important, because if you are not able to do it, it is fucking dangerous. I'm not doing this again. That is why I've said incessantly that I need the people that are not in Texas to take a step back when it comes to this Texas Senate race. Because you are playing quite literally with people's lives by doing it. So, as a collective, I highly encourage white people to interrogate the culture of insecurity that is driving a lot of actions for you.
Great things white people have accomplished. 97% of inventions were made by Europeans. And there's actually a website when they say like a traffic light or peanut butter was invented by black people. I don't think they've invented anything actually. There's a website that like fact checks these black inventions, and you look deeper into it and usually they're all from white people that they might have added something or it was like completely stolen. So why are we not taught about that?
Wow, there's a site debunking black inventions?
Yeah, I didn't even invent peanut butter. So I don't think they've invented anything actually.
Is this a measuring contest of which race is better? Do you see something in us that we probably don't even see in ourselves? Do you look at us like so superior to the point that you have to say, look, you didn't make that, you're not that good? It's similar to like, if there's a really, really attractive girl and there's a girl who's maybe not as attractive and not getting as much attention, she goes out of her way to basically go, hey, she's a liar, she's ugly. Everyone clearly sees that when it comes to beauty. You are being disrespectful because you don't have something or you feel inferior. You need to work on yourself instead of tearing down that beautiful woman. That's how we see it. Why do you need to stand so high above black people? Why do you need to keep on making it a thing where you keep on telling the world that you're better?
Most of the stuff y'all consume is Black American culture. Most of the stuff y'all see, hear, listen to, want to wear is Black American culture. Yet y'all give white people your flowers for what? What y'all giving white people your flowers for? Like, I really don't understand it. Next time y'all say, I love the 90s style, I love the Y2K style, I love baggy clothes, Black American style. That's Black American culture. Next time y'all say, I love rock music, and y'all think of Elvis Presley. Rock music didn't start with Elvis Presley. Rock music started with Black Americans. Country music started with Black Americans. House music started with Black Americans. Techno is Black music. Hip-hop is Black music. R&B is Black music. Blues, jazz, gospel is Black music. Everything that y'all consume, most of the stuff, is Black music. People dress like Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish is dressed like TLC, The Brat, and MC Lights. But y'all don't know who that is, so the conversation doesn't even make sense. You know, like, I'm so sick and tired of people thinking Black Americans don't have culture when they are the culture. Y'all love the gift and not the giver. Y'all love everything that black people produce, but y'all don't like black people. Y'all love everything that black people give you, but you don't respect black people. Y'all love everything that black people, it only exists because of black people. You only exist because of black people. If it wasn't for a black woman, y'all wouldn't even be here. Yet y'all want to hate on black women. All of that shit don't make sense to me, bro.
Hey, man, I don't even gotta say nothing. We all know it's facts. The end.
Ooh, you want to know one thing that blacks invented, do ya? Well, for starters, how about we don't refer to black folks as blacks? Because I can hear the fucking banjos coming out of you from that comment. But if you really want to know one of the most prominent things that black folks have ever invented, I advise you to turn on your radio. Just about every single genre of American music you've ever heard of has been invented by black folks or is derived from music that black folks made. You can look this stuff up yourself, but I know you won't because you don't actually give a fuck. So I'm just gonna let you know that you wouldn't have country music, rock music, metal, dance music, techno, EDM, even subgenres like rockabilly and thrash metal and fucking dubstep. You would have absolutely none of that if black culture did not exist. And I'm sorry, but it's not even up for debate. It's not a lie, it's not an omission, it's not an embellishment, it's not a misrepresentation of any sort of factual information. It is 100% true that if you are listening to American-made music in the modern day, you have black people to thank for its existence. How's that for an invention?
Black people have contributed nothing to America. This is the most insane, asinine take anyone could have, and it proves the point that I say that you are socialized to believe that you're here and we're there when that's just not the case. So let's go through some inventions of what you use and what I use every day that was invented by black people. The traffic light was invented by Garrett Morgan. Gladys West, she contributed to the mathematical modeling of the Earth that is essential for GPS. Color computer monitors were invented by Mark Dean. The folding chair, portable hair straightener, which women use every day, was invented by Marjorie Stewart Turner. The electric microphone was co-created by James West. X-ray imaging was done by James E. Alcorn. Mops that you clean your kitchen up with were invented by Thomas B. Stewart. The fire extinguisher was invented by Thomas J. Martin. Modern day ice cream was invented by Augustus Jackson, the new recipe that's used today. The cell phone was co-created by Jesse Russell. George Crumb invented potato chips. The improved current state of the ironing board was done by Sarah Boone, who was the first black woman to have a patent in America. Gene Matzlager invented the shoe lasting machine. Before him, even the best shoemaker could only make 50 shoes a day. Post him, 700 shoes a day. Philip B. Downing invented the mailbox that we all use daily. The doorknob was invented by Osborne Dorney. Lewis Latimer is the reason we have lights that last longer than 2 hours. Before him, lights went out, but he invented the carbon filament for the long-lasting light bulb. Mechanized dough roller and the kitchen mixer, you know, the KitchenAid, was invented by Judy W. Reed. Laser cataract surgery, so we all could see, was done by Patricia Bath. Shirley Ann Jackson invented the portable fax machine, touch-tone telephones, call waiting, caller ID, and fiber optic cables. Pretty sure you're watching this video because of fiber optic cables. So before you say things like black people don't contribute anything to this country or to this world because your feelings were hurt because I mentioned a few things about white history, think again. Educate yourself. All right? Bye-bye.
In America today, a white man with a high school diploma makes more than a black man with a master's degree. A white man with a master's degree makes more than a black man with a doctorate. You follow what I'm saying? So that is real. There was a study that was done not too long ago where white men who had a prison record and no college degree, were called back for a job more often than black men with master's degrees with no prison record at all. Right? There was a sister who just did a study. I just saw it the other day. She changed her name to a white woman's name.
I saw that.
You saw that?
Yeah.
On what is it? Indeed. What's the thing on?
Indeed, yeah. Yeah, Indeed and all those job sites. LinkedIn.
Right.
Indeed.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And she passed herself off as a white woman. And she proved that there was discrimination. Same resume, same everything, but when she was Caucasian, way more job opportunities than when she was black. So that's a real thing. How did we change that? You got to change the system. Because here's the thing. We can't deny the American African his humanity for good and for bad. This is what I mean by that. There was a psychological study that was done. I forget the name of it, where they took a rat and they put the rat in a box. And they kept enticing the rat to climb out the box. And every time the rat tried to climb out the box, they kept getting pushed back into the box. So guess what happened after hundreds of times of trying to jump out the box and kept getting pushed back in? They stopped trying to jump out the box. The white man, a Charlie Kirk, will look at that and say, look at the lazy black. They not trying enough. They not working hard enough. What did I say? Don't discount the history. He's not going to talk about the fact that they've been trying to do that for the past 200 years, and they learned through experience that trying to get out the box is not the way you get out.
If you're really going to be a racist, then you should be a true racist and not use anything or be involved with anything that was invented or created by blacks. Do you want a list? The ironing board, the refrigerator, the baby carriage, the shoemaking machines, the traffic signal, the incandescent light bulb, the folding bed, the mailbox, air conditioning, elevator. You want me to go on?
This is a nation that invented the light bulb, the telegraph, the television, the telephone, the computer chip, the smartphone, the GPS, the integrated circuit, and even the internet. Basically, we invented everything.
We?
Outside of interracial children causing strain on the relationship between family and daughter, all this shit right here. We made locks so you had something to hit at the traffic light. Fire extinguishers to combat the open flame after you done passed out drunk in the trailer park. Rolling pins so your wives have something to combat against the wife beaters. Elevators to aid in your obesity. Guitars so you had something to use to try to steal the music we sing better. Typewriters so you had the ability to lie on that police report. Even golf tees so the upper echelon whites had something fun to do while they also called you trash unbeknownst to you. We made AC units so you won't be so goddamn musty. Curtains and curtain rods so your nosy ass had something to hide behind when you wasn't minding your fucking business. Baby buggies so the nannies had something to push the kids in while you called other races deadbeats who didn't take care of their kids. Peanut butter in hopes that you'd shut the fuck up for a little while. Shit, without us, there'd be no spark plugs. Without spark plugs, there'd be no NASCAR. And what else would be your soundtrack to your domestic abuse? And Jeff Gordon rounds into the left again. The list goes on and on. I could do this all day. Shit, I did that one of your great white heroes said that.
I hope you're doing great wherever you're watching from. I'm your host, and today we have one of those videos that makes my blood boil and my chest swell with pride at the same time. A white man sat down on a live show and looked the camera dead in the eye and said, "White people don't need other races. We don't need black people. They need us. America became the greatest economy through the genius of Europeans, not through black people, not through free labor. We could have figured out another way to pick cotton." He said it with confidence. He said it with that quiet superiority. He even tried to clown black people when asked for one invention. He couldn't name a single thing, so he started throwing stereotypes: loud, obnoxious, incarcerated, overweight, and brothers and sisters. I watched that clip and I said to myself, this man has never opened a real history book in his life. This man is walking around with a version of America that only exists in his head, because the America he is bragging about, the America he calls the greatest, was built on the blood, the sweat, the broken backs, the stolen children, the generational trauma of black people. You cannot separate the wealth of this country from the unpaid labor that created it. You cannot talk about cotton, railroads, tobacco, sugar, banking, insurance, universities, without talking about black hands that made it possible while white hands held the whip and the pen. And yet, here he is, sitting comfortably, saying, "We don't need them." Today we are going to school. This man, we are going to drag every single one of his talking points into the light of actual history. We are going to remind him and every person who thinks like him that black people are not guests in America. We are the foundation. We are the reason the house is still standing. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button right now, turn on the notification bell, because we don't play about history on this channel. We speak facts, we speak truth, and we speak it with fire. Let's get into this video and watch this man instantly regret every word that came out of High. You see that face? That is the face of a man who thought he was untouchable until the facts start coming. Stay with me, because what comes next is going to hit different.